This is Ray.
This is Andy.
This is FDS CFL Season 3, Andy. Episode 20.
Episode 20. How's it going, Ray?
Might be 21. It might be 18. I don't even know right now, but I'm going with 20.
We don't know. And the listener or the viewer doesn't care.
They don't care.
Because they already know.
It
was already listening to what they clicked on. This episode is brought to you by Moose Light. If you need a beer, get yourself a Moose Light. Why, Ray?
This stuff is scary good.
It is scary good. Tell them about the other sponsor. I'm having a drink of this.
Yeah, the other sponsor is if you need hats, shirts, jackets, whatever you need, pens, go see our buddies at Doyle's. The Doyle's corporate image.
Because the Doyle's rule.
Doyle's rule. There you go.
All right.
Andy, let's talk some football.
All right, Week 18 in the books. Let's run through the games really quickly on Friday.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Is the CFL season long or is it just me?
It's long, man.
It's friggin' long.
It's long. And on a week like this week, wait for our Take It and Leave It segment, but I'm going to explain how I think it may be too long.
Okay.
But we'll get there. All right, let's recap the games. Ottawa visits Toronto. Toronto comes out on top in this game, 28-21.
Yeah.
Really doesn't mean much of anything for playoff implications at this point, but it just keeps Ottawa in that position of unwatchable as far as I'm concerned. Any thoughts on the game?
Your boy Bethel Thompson puts up 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and James Wilder Jr. Pops back with almost 80 yards of rushing, 82 yards, I believe.
Yeah.
And S.J. Green has a big game. He puts up 170 yards. No touchdowns, though. But, this was a pretty easy win for the Argonauts over the Red Blacks.
Let me ask you this question. Let's say the Atlantic Schooners became a team next season and they needed themselves a quarterback. How would you feel about McLeod Bethel Thompson being the man to start out as the first ever Schooner starting quarterback?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
He's all over the board.
I think there's more options out there.
I do, too.
Because Mazzoli's going to be out there.
Oh, that's
Trevor
true.
Harris might find himself out there.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be, if the Schooners are starting in 2021, all I can say is there could be a good scale of quarterbacks to pick from in the CFL.
Well, let's hope we find out. The next game, also Friday, the later game, Saskatchewan to Calgary. Huge game. Calgary defends their home turf and wins this game 30-28. I caught a bunch of it, but then I fell asleep at some point, and I don't really know how it ended.
It's tough watching these late games in the Maritimes.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
Now, what's interesting is Calgary came out, they won this game. Bo Levi Mitchell made a comment after the game. He thought the officials were calling the game to benefit the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Ooh.
Thought they should have won more. But, I mean...
The refs are in the news in the Canadian Football League too, Ray.
They are, yeah.
What's going on here?
I mean, Bo Levi Mitchell puts up 79.3% passing completion, Andy. 2 touchdowns, interception. We'll talk about our power rankings later in the show, but look out for Calgary. I keep saying that. Mm-hmm. I watch out for Calgary as we get closer to the playoffs.
Yep, definitely. The next game, this one was a clunker for me anyways. I was very disappointed. Montreal goes on the road, face off against Winnipeg. Winnipeg takes this game 35-24. Vernon Adams Jr. showed flashes of his brilliant self, but he threw 4 interceptions, Ray. Not quite 60% in the air. Montreal just wasn't themselves, I guess, so to speak. And this was really disappointing because it would really be nice to see Montreal kind of really get a lot of momentum heading into the playoffs. Despite this loss, they've clinched the playoffs. We'll talk about that.
They're in the playoffs. Listen, this was one of those games. It wasn't a must-win, but it would have been a nice to win for the Montreal Alouettes. I've kept saying, watch out. This season could go through the Grey Cup could go through Montreal. Yeah. After this win, I think it eliminates that option. But I still think Montreal is an exciting team. But let's see what happens as we get through the season. And like I said, we'll talk about this a couple times. This for a 9-team league. This is a long season. Is
it ever? And all right, let's talk about a meaningless game that had terrible news. Well, actually, I guess it wasn't meaningless. Had BC won this game, they were going to keep their playoff hopes alive. Yeah. But catastrophe struck, and Mike Riley breaks his wrist during the game. Goes out, has to hand things off to Danny O'Brien, who wasn't quite ready to lead the team to victory. Logan, this was a mic'd up game, actually, and I do want to say that I really enjoyed listening to Logan Kilgore on the mic. It was very interesting, but Edmonton wins the game 19-6. BC is eliminated from the playoffs. Mike Riley is officially done for the season, which still has several weeks left to it.
Yeah.
I think we can officially call the BC Lions hopeful 2019 season a disaster. Would you go there?
It was... it was not a good year. Yeah. It was not the year that you, me, or anybody expected out of BC coming to this season. The other real interesting thing about this game, we've been talking about this all year, CJ Gable has not been good for Edmonton. They've had no running game all year, and all of a sudden Shaquille Cooper puts up 94 yards rushing and a touchdown. Yeah. So, that's been Edmonton's biggest lack in 2019, other than the health of Harris, is the fact they got no running game whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's get into Take It and Leave It this week. And I did the Take It and Leave It this week, and I got 2 Leave It's for you, because I don't really have anything this week that I'm taking whatsoever. Okay. I have nothing positive to talk about Schooners-wise, which is what I was hoping I could take. They put out a little hype video talking about how the excitement is brewing here in Atlantic, Canada.
I'm just saying, can I just let everybody know something here right now?
Go ahead.
You are killing my odds and ends. My odds and ends.
Okay, forget it. I will just move on really quickly. My Leave It. I've got 2. First of all, I'm leaving CFL playoff excitement at this point. This season's too long. We've got 4 weeks, I think, left to go in this season. In the playoffs, the 6 teams that are going to be in the playoffs are set.
Let's go.
They're set. There's going to be a crossover. There's no way Montreal is catching Hamilton at this point. So we know this. We know how the 2 East teams are going to play out. So these next few weeks, I guess, are exciting for Western Canadian fans in that it may shuffle how things seed in the West a little bit. But to us out here in Atlantic, Canada, where a lot of your Western games we can't even stay up to watch anyways, just hurry up and get to the playoffs at this point. Let's I know
CFL fans don't like to talk about this, but the AAF and other XFL, some of these other eight team leagues, their weeks are done in 10 weeks, and then they're into playoffs. This is a 9-team league, and even if they get 10 teams, Andy, man, they could shorten this season down to 14 weeks.
Yeah. Now, in its defense, yeah, absolutely. The 10th team is needed so that we can reduce the number of bye weeks and shorten the season. And then the other thing that's going to fix it is just be if the league is competitive. If the league is competitive, they always say nothing that happens before a certain date in the CFL even matters. Well, this year it's kind of like nothing that happens after a certain date is really going to matter.
Right now, I feel like the CFL season's as long as the baseball season.
There you go. All right. There you go. The other thing I'm leaving right now is any news involving a Zach Collaros trade. I mean, seriously, folks. Zach Collaros gets traded to Toronto. We're thinking, okay, they finally have a quarterback once he gets healthy. I mean, we saw him here in Moncton during Touchdown Atlantic. He even said, I think, to a couple of fans, I don't think I'm going to be suiting up for this team. Now he's going to Winnipeg. It's still Strevler's team. He's probably not going to suit up for them. Why does this guy keep getting traded? What is the financial benefit for any of these teams to keep trading him around? If it's just to have his rights for next season, I could buy into a Zach Collaros-led Winnipeg Blue Bombers next year if he can stay healthy.
Right.
But as of now, any news involving Zach Collaros, I'm leaving.
Let's leave it.
I am leaving it.
All right.
You mentioned the power rankings, Ray. All right, so let's have a look at our power rankings. They were pretty in sync again this week. Hamilton stays at the top. We both moved Calgary from 4 up into 2 with their big win. We dropped Saskatchewan down from 2 to 3. Winnipeg moves up from 5th into the 4th spot, and we had to drop Montreal down to 5. I think this is really how it's all going to shake out at this point. Edmonton at 6. I left BC at 7, where you moved move them down with the loss of Mike Riley. I get it. I was so bored by the time I got down to position number 7 that I just kind of left things where, I dropped them.
That's the only reason why. The only reason why ours are different this week is because Toronto won.
Yeah.
Riley broke his wrist.
Yeah.
It only makes sense to drop BC. I'm not dropping them down to under Ottawa.
No.
But I put Toronto up there because I like Bethel Thompson.
Yep. I agree with your rankings. I should have taken the time to do that. Call it laziness, call it boredom. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. Now, power rankings. You've had some spats on the internet with a lot of people over a lot of things with the CFL, but nothing was ever more, fun for me to hear about than when you would get in big arguments with people about power rankings.
Right.
We would actually have people reach out to us going, "What are your how do you do your power rankings? What's your
mindset?
What's your formula behind it? Right?
What's your
Crazy enough, a lot of people seem to think the power rankings should just be the standings.
Right.
Oh, they have a better record, so they're well. Then why do power rankings? We'll just post the standings.
Right.
Anyways, so one guy that you really had it in with, and you actually named last week's episode after is Mr.
Shoesmith.
Mike Shoesmith.
Oh, boy.
You called the episode
Holy Shoesmith.
Holy Shoesmith. Now, you guys really you guys really had a rough go for a little while, but I think you guys made nice on everything.
We're friends. We're friends on Facebook.
You guys are friends now. Well...
And if you're friends on Facebook...
Yeah, you're friends.
You're friends, baby.
Well, you know what Mike Shoesmith found out from being friends with you on Facebook? He found out that you're a bit of a Buffalo Bills fan.
Yes.
So he reached out to me and he said, Andy, I got this, I hear Ray's a Buffalo Bills fan. I said, yeah. And he said, well, I've got this laying around, and I think it would be better with him than with me. So he was like, do you guys have a FDS address or whatever? And I, at this point, and this was right during the peak of the Let's Talk CFL Wars we'll call them. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what anybody's going to send us at this point, right? So I'm actually worried. But then I'm just like, all right, you know what, Mike Shoesmith, here's my address. I gave him my address. He sent the package.
Oh, no.
So... Mike sent this. I told him that I would present it to you on
You're
the show.
You're smirking. We're not allowed to talk NFL on CFL shows.
But with this particular one, I think you'll realize how relevant it is to the CFL.
All right.
This, Ray, is from Mike Shoesmith for you. Have a look. He went through the trouble of...
What?
He went through the trouble of sending this across Canada for you.
GDB, come here.
Oh, wow. Genie's coming down to check this out. There we go. And
Mike Shoesmith, look at this.
And as you can see, that's perfectly relevant to the CFL.
It's perfect.
Perfectly
to
relevant.
the CFL.
There we go. So thank you very much for sending that, Mike. Thank you for not sending me any one of those things that explode with glitter or whatever.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, there we go.
GDB?
Genie's coming down to check this out.
One of our listeners sent me, he found out I was a Buffalo Bills fan. He wanted to send me something that reminded, that had something to do with the Bills, but also had to have CFL related to it. Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Wow, look at that.
Flutie.
Yeah, Jeannie B. Yeah, we shouldn't incriminate ourselves on the podcast. But Jeannie B. did grab Doug Flutie at the Grey Cup, and we'll just kind of leave it at that. So.
Well, holy Shoesmith, I love this.
Fine.
I love this.
That's awesome.
Thanks,
there
Mikey.
We go. Thanks for sending that, Mike. All right. Well,
I was expecting something. I was expecting some kind of gag. The way Andy was smirking, I thought it was going to be some kind of gag.
Right up until it arrived, and I held my breath and opened the package to see what was in it. I had no idea what Mike Shoesmith was sending you.
Wow,
I didn't know
that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm kidding. He did tell me what it was ahead of time, but I wasn't sure if he was telling me the truth or not. All right. Odds and ends. What do you got?
Odds and ends. Well, you've really killed two of them already. Mike Riley is gone for the year with his broken wrist.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And
Whoops.
I don't know if you saw this today. The Lions have gone out and signed
Brandon Bridge.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Air
this guy,
Canada.
Air Canada has flown to every team in the CFL.
Yep.
But Brandon Bridge is now with the Lions. I don't know what kind of contract he got, just till the end of the year or whatever. But
who knows if he'll even play or if they'll just ride it out with this other guy. There's 4 weeks left.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Might as well give him a shot, though.
Yeah, just to see if you're interested for next year, though. Obviously, they're still with Riley. But
there's been a lot of talks in a lot of I see in a lot of the chat rooms the whole XFL. As the XFL is getting near, people are starting to, oh boy, what's going to happen to the CFL? What's going to happen to the CFL? And there's been a lot of talks about salary and the way guys are going to make money in the
XFL.
In the XFL, and we talked about this earlier in our podcast about we compared the two leagues.
Yeah.
And basically, it's come out. It has been written now. It is official that 90% of the players that play in the XFL are going to earn $55,000. QBs and other special players like that will earn more. But 90% of the league will be making $55,000.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, like we keep talking about the length of season.
Yeah.
It's going to be a much shorter season
Absolutely.
in the XFL versus the CFL.
Yeah, dollars for time spent, games played, and practices, attended. The XFL players are better paid. There's no hiding it. They are. It's just it comes down to the length of the season and how much money you are getting for the work you are putting in. So,
right.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
The Schooners, they released a very interesting video today on their Facebook page, which you also have already brought up.
Sorry about that.
But what's interesting about this, it's a video entitled "Excitement is Beginning to Grow." And the entire video is from the pregame tailgate party at the Touchdown Atlantic game here in Moncton, New Brunswick.
There was a couple shots of like some boats on the harbor in Halifax and so on, but anything actually CFL related all took place at Touchdown Atlantic.
It all took place. And Greg Geddes, our good friend, was
all
in
over
the video.
Yep.
There was a First Down Sports hat in the video.
It was spotted. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Some other, our mayor, Don Arnold, was there. Jason Terrace from the Mustangs was there. There was a lot of people from Moncton in the video. But, and here's what I'm wondering, okay? Is this a message to the city of Halifax? Excitement starting to grow with a video all about the game in Moncton. Is this the Schooners sending, and especially with the mayor, Don Arnold, speaking in the video, is this a message to the city of Halifax? If you don't want this stadium, Moncton does.
I hope so. I hope that was the message. Though, I mean, Greg Geddes, who had as much airtime in this as Mayor Don Arnold did, spoke glowingly about Halifax and this stadium needs to be in Halifax and we will fill it if it's there, yada, yada, yada. I hope so. At the end of the day, what I think this is, Ray, is the news surrounding the Schooners has been nothing but negative ever since that proposal got out there. And there's nobody spreading anything about what the councillors are saying other than the fact that the councillors don't like what they see. And there's even a motion that's going to get voted on at this point.
October 22nd.
October 22nd, where one of the councillors doesn't think they even should spend their time looking into it any further. So potentially this is just the Schooners saying, listen, we got to get something out there to kind of shift the narrative, let people know that we're still working, keep positive, and the excitement is growing. And to that, I say, guys, nobody around here in the Atlantic Canada has been supporting you guys more than us, getting the word of the Schooners out more than us. Nobody wants the Schooners to happen more than us, and we're perfectly happy with it happening in Halifax. We understand that's the best place for it, but nice try with this video, guys. Come on.
Let's go.
That was like we were there. Like that was Touchdown Atlantic footage. How is excitement growing? Excitement has done nothing but dwindle since the day that all those video clips were shot. Come on, guys, give us something better than that.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep.
All right, Andy, let's make our picks for Week 19.
Ray, let me recap really quickly. So remember last week, you're like, I got to go for it. I got to get a little crazy and I got to catch up. Well, it didn't completely blow up in your face, but it didn't work either. You went 1-3.
Oh.
You went 1-3 on the picks. That drops you to 39-27. I went 2-2. And that moved me to 41-24. So I got a nice, comfortable 3-game lead at this point.
3-game lead, okay.
And in terms of the tiebreaker, I got a 2-game lead on you for the tiebreaker as well. So you've got some work to put in, but you can make it. So let's talk.
We still have 20 weeks left to go in the regular season, right?
Yeah, you've got a long time to get this done. Yeah.
All right, let's go. Toronto, Montreal. You go.
I'm taking Montreal at home.
Okay.
No brainer.
Keep going.
Okay.
Who's got underdog this week?
I've got underdog this week.
Okay,
I've
so
got
I'm
to do
favorite.
the upset.
Okay, go.
All right. Saskatchewan at BC. I'm taking Saskatchewan on the road. Ottawa at Hamilton. I am taking Hamilton at home. And Winnipeg at Calgary. I will take Winnipeg on the road for my upset of the week.
I'm in big trouble.
There you go.
I'm in big trouble. I'm either going to put up another offer, or I'm going to go a one-fer.
Yeah. All right. Boy, I love when Ray does his picks live on a show like this.
Live
he can really take.
Here we go. Right. I'm taking Toronto over Montreal. I'm taking BC over Saskatchewan.
You guys are witnessing a meltdown. A meltdown.
Ottawa over Hamilton.
Oh my gosh!
And for my
lock
of the week, I'm taking Calgary over Winnipeg. There you go. That gets me right back into the race.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's perfect. Boy, this is in the bag. But like you said, it's a long season left to go, Ray.
15 more weeks to go in the season.
Crazier things can happen. All right. Fantasy. Oh, we were back to being terrible at fantasy again, but we'll run through it real fast. I scored 70 fantasy points. That takes me to 1,470.2 on the season. Ray, you scored 46.6. That gets you to 1,331.5. As you know, last week I screwed up and I said the touchdown Atlantic bonus would be 50 points when it was actually 25. I am going to officially make it 50 because I am not worried whatsoever at this point. Yeah, 50 points is not going to be a problem at all.
This is where it all turns right here.
Okay, give me
15 weeks to go.
Give me your lineup that's going to turn it all around.
Dane Evans, Jeremiah Johnson, Anthony Coombs, Eric Rogers, Eugene Lewis, and Kyran Moore.
All right, and that is, of course, subject to change. All right, solid lineup, Ray.
It's solid.
Solid lineup. I'm going with Vernon Adams for a big game against Toronto. Andrew Harris, I think he's just going to be lights out, despite the fact, well, actually, I've got them upsetting, so obviously that's why. Keenan LaFrance, Braylon Addison with Hamilton, he's a must start. Caleb Hawley and Mike Jones are two really, really cheap guys that I'm tossing at the end. Hope to get a few points on because I really spent a lot at the top. So that is my setup right here. I mean, you're pretty much going to have to score in the hundreds at this point.
I'm putting up 200 points.
200 points.
200 points this week. I'm going 4-on-4 on picks, and I'm climbing back right into the race of everything.
Wow. All right.
And you know why?
Yeah.
Because I have some good luck here. I got my Flutie Buffalo Bills jersey.
There you go.
And you know what I'm going to go upstairs and do after this, Andy?
What's that?
It's been sitting in there for 20 years. I'm going to break open my box of Flutie Flakes.
Wow. There you go.
I don't have a box of Flutie Flakes.
I was going to say, you want to tread softly with those. So, all right, guys, that's the show for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, like, comment, dislike, whatever you want to do. And if you're listening to us on your podcast provider, figure out a way to leave us a rating. That would be wonderful.
Got to say big thanks to Mike Shoesmith. I really appreciate it, buddy. I will cherish this Flutie jersey.
Catch you later.
Thanks, guys.